Hi, I'm Lee Mostari from NICE Fizzback, and today I'm going to talk to you about how our telecoms customers are using NICE Fizzback to improve their customer experience. Telecoms is one of the most competitive industries around. Every telecoms company I've worked with is fighting for customer loyalty and retention. Clearly, a voice of customer program is fully aligned to a company strategy of customer retention. And the typical voice of customer programs I'm involved with are ones where an organisation is looking to improve performance at the customer touchpoint in an effort to improve that touchpoint experience, which we know in turn will lead to a reduction in churn. Here are the top 10 drivers of churn as highlighted in a recent Deloitte mobile consumer study, the reasons why customers are looking to change operator. As you can see, customer support features twice in the top 6. So having a voice of customer program focusing on improving the interaction with customer support will go a long way in improving that customer retention. Throughout this short presentation, we'll share how some of our telecoms customers are tackling this issue head-on using NICE Fizzback. NICE Fizzback were the pioneers in using SMS to gather customer feedback. The SMS channel drives high response rates, and we often see mid-30s in our telecoms customers. As well as having high response rates, SMS benefits from quick response times to surveys. Within telecoms, typically within 10 minutes of a customer feedback being sent, customers are responding. So high volumes of feedback being received quickly means you have near real-time feedback about the customer experience, and this allows you to do a number of things to react to the negative customer experiences. So if, for example, you send a request for feedback 15 minutes after an interaction with a customer services agent, and the customer responds within 10 minutes, potentially you could be talking to that customer within 25 minutes of the interaction to address their issue. This will directly help with customer retention because you've recovered the customer before they've had an opportunity to consider leaving. Secondly, you can provide some real-time coaching to the customer services agent to prevent the same issue from reoccurring. Again, this can be within 25 minutes of the advisor delivering the poor experience. A voice of customer program should look at the entire journey the customer is having with your organisation. Having that holistic view of the customer enables you to understand what works well and what works less well within your organisation. And most importantly, this is from the customer's perspective. So in this example, we can see that the joining experience has the highest ranking stage within the journey, and that's the purchase experience. Then the customer experience starts to drop, and when the customer has setup issues and receives their first bill, you can see this is an underperforming part of the process. This suggests that some point of sale experience changes, process changes, can be made to improve that new joining experience for customers. And interestingly, in this example, broken handset and the repair process are also low-performing areas from a customer's perspective. These should be the priority areas, focus areas for process and policy review, and look to make change within your organisation to improve the customer experience. So this cross-channel holistic view is very important. But more importantly, we've asked you about your view on customer experience. Now, 70% of you said that customer experience is important to your boardroom. And more than 70% of you said that you deliver a good experience today. So, the responses to these questions highlight something really important. I don't need to tell you, I don't need to convince you that voice of customer is important. You understand that. The challenge a lot of NICE Fizzback customers have is getting from good to great. Here are 2 examples where we're helping customers move from good to great. Many organisations understand that having more sophisticated approach to customer alerts will help them improve their customer experience. So building on the immediate customer recovery I've just talked about, organisations are starting to look at incorporating external customer data to predict customer outcomes. So for example, a long-standing customer may not be on the best value plan or the most up-to-date package. If this customer is happy, then you can be confident that doing nothing is a low-risk strategy. That customer will stay with you. However, if this customer reports neutral satisfaction, so they're not detractors, they're neutral, this should be an alarm bell. So that's not to say you need to react to the customer within minutes of receiving that feedback, but this customer should probably be selected for a promotion or another offering to build up their satisfaction. And secondly, predictive analytics. By understanding the drivers of customer dissatisfaction, for example, repeat contacts, you can start to understand patterns of customer behavior and the link to the experience. In the example I showed where the first bill had lower satisfaction, that was driven by the purchase transaction. So by understanding drivers of dissatisfaction, you can change upstream processes to prevent the dissatisfaction from occurring for future customers. And finally, we have a vast amount of experience working with telecoms customers, helping them drive customer experience improvements. We want to help you drive a significant improvement in your customer experience metrics. And here are just 3 examples where we have helped different organizations recently to improve their customer experience. We've helped 2 contact center clients to improve their customer experience. The first one measures customer satisfaction, and this organization has moved their customer satisfaction score by 30% through agent coaching and changing the behaviors within the call center. The second customer has delivered changes to agent behaviors, but they've also delivered significant process improvements, and this has resulted in a 56-point improvement in their NPS performance, quite staggering performance. And then finally, a telecoms retailer was able to reduce complaints by 61%, and they did that by asking customers for feedback after an in-store interaction, and they addressed the dissatisfaction in real time before the customer had a chance to write to their head office to complain.
Hi, I'm Hayley Kitson from NICE Fizzback. The client in this case study gathered feedback from a number of their touchpoints, and we're going to focus on the retail touchpoint. They collected feedback through both SMS and email with a goal of improving NPS and driving increased revenues and lifetime value. Now, prior to their NICE Fizzback solution, they had very little visibility on staff performance relating to customer experience, and likewise, a poor understanding of the impact of their products on their customers. So to help this client work towards achieving their goals and their new mission statement of becoming the leading telecoms provider in the region, our professional services team worked closely and in partnership with them, delivering powerful insights with clear and specific actions to improve the customer experience. So in this first example, looking at the drivers of dissatisfaction, we analysed all customer verbatim comments and categorised them into those which mentioned short waiting times, long waiting times, and those which didn't mention waiting times at all. We then lined these scores up with the satisfaction with sales experience. Now, via this exercise, what we can see and conclude is that the length of the wait time in store seems to have a considerable impact on the customer satisfaction with sales experience, and that those customers who are mentioning long waiting times give significantly lower satisfaction scores compared to those who don't mention waiting times. Those customers who mention being served quickly are, of course, the most satisfied, but overall, the mainly negative feedback from these customers drives this client's likelihood to recommend down by more than 2 points. So a clear action here to work on reducing wait times in store to significantly improve the customer experience. And this is how our consulting team did further work with the client to help them achieve this. So we took the results from the previous slide and worked on setting targets to reduce comments about wait times and looked at the impact it would have. Here we have the current score for NPS, and on the right, the new target scores. The middle column is the initial target to work to on waiting times, and the last column shows the stretch target. Now, this graph shows how a decrease of the volume of waiting time related comments would impact the NPS, both for the client overall, but specifically for the sales and process efficiency category. We knew that waiting times played a significant role in the sales and process efficiency category score, and we calculated that if the volume of wait time messages was to decrease by 80%, the NPS for the category would improve by 7.5 points. In the same scenario, the overall NPS would improve by 1 point, and according to an LSE study, this potential gain of 1 point in NPS could equate to a significant increase in sales. So overall, it's so important when approaching any voice of customer program to be able to set clear goals, to be able to measure the improvements, and also be able to quantify them. Now, the second way we were able to create action from customer feedback was through this simple exercise of plotting store NPS scores against their achievement on sales targets. Of course, depending on the culture of the business, there can be tendencies to be too sales focused, which can damage the customer experience. But comparatively, the reverse can also be true, where if there aren't bonus schemes in place, the experience scores may be high, but at the cost of not closing all important sales. The 4 groups shown here identify those stores which perform well in both KPIs and are therefore best practice or role models, those stores which require focus in one of the KPIs, and those which require the most focus as they are delivering the poorest performance in both store sales and store NPS. So through understanding how these stores fit into these 4 performance quadrants, our client could direct its area managers to action relevant coaching and development, as well as understand where to obtain references for best practices they could share with their lower performing teams.